Coming up on Mountain News this morning, as COVID-19 deaths hit 275 in Kentucky and 71,000 in the United States, some ask if states are reopening too soon. And despite a startling number of new cases announced in Kentucky yesterday, there are some signs that we may have avoided a surge in COVID-19 patients. Plus, as grocery stores announced new policies limiting meat purchases due to supply concerns, we looked into different ways to fill your fridge.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Katie Cook. It is Wednesday, May the 6th, and your time is about 6:01. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon, it looks like we have another gloomy day on our hands. When can we see that sunshine return?
I hope by tomorrow, maybe even later today, Katie, but I swear it just seems like we've been so back and forth here lately. No consistency whatsoever in the forecast this morning. Same thing. We're seeing a couple of stray showers there out to the west. Madison County seeing one coming into Madison County anyway, and then back out toward Pulaski County, but nothing like it was yesterday. Much, much calmer than it was yesterday. Temperatures floating anywhere between 43 and 50. That's the range across the region this morning. So cooler than yesterday by several degrees in a lot of locations, and it's going to be a dreary day ahead with chances for scattered showers. Now again, you may see some peaks of sunshine in the morning or in the evening depending on where you are today, but it will not last, and 52 is about the best we'll do. Some spots may not make it to 52, only maybe around 50. Katie?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Governor Andy Beshear announced the largest one-day increase in COVID-19 cases in Kentucky last night. 625 new cases were announced, 309 of them at the Green River Correctional Complex in western Kentucky. Kentucky now has at least 5,822 cases. 14 new deaths were also reported, bringing the death toll to 275, 152 of those at long-term care facilities. And COVID-19 has especially been hard for people in nursing homes. As you just saw, about half of the deaths in the state are linked to long-term care facilities. We talked to Governor Beshear yesterday and asked him if he could see a time later this year when people could visit their loved ones face to face.
By the end of the year, do I believe that we'll have some form of limited visitation? Yes. But in this first stage of reopening the economy, we're all going to go from in me and my family, a set of 4 contacts to a set of 30 or 40 something contacts, which means that then going to one of those facilities might even be a little more dangerous. So we got to keep making sure that we protect those around us, but we also got to make sure that we have ways to connect with parents and grandparents that are in those facilities.
One of the hardest hit nursing homes in the state is Jackson Manor. Health officials reported 2 more deaths yesterday, both women. One is 70 years old and the other is 95. That brings the total deaths at Jackson Manor to 11. At least 53 cases of COVID-19 have been connected to the nursing home. Kentucky is inching closer to lesser restrictions on everyday life. Shaping Our Appalachian Region, or SOAR, held an hour-long meeting with health officials on COVID-19 in Appalachia yesterday. WYMT's Will Puckett has more.
60 minutes of discussion over how the region is handling the virus.
Some of the things that we have maybe felt were holding us back a bit as far as moving forward economically and after the decline in the coal industry, some of those things that have held us back actually helped protect us in a way during this pandemic.
They said we hit a possible peak last week. Now local health officials say steps taken plus intense contact tracing are to credit.
Where we ask the individual to try to think about every place you've been and every person you've come in contact with during the last 2 weeks, because basically we're seeing that that's the amount of time, the incubation period, that you could have had COVID-19 and actually been shedding the virus and impacting others for 2 weeks before you test positive.
Now as we move forward towards opening up, the stress is on making sure the restrictions that are still in place are followed so that we limit the possibility of a spike as we reopen.
None of this is meant to be punitive. The last thing we want to happen is us to get going and us ramp up our economy again and get people coming in, and we see a huge spike in positive cases and deaths, and we have to put the brakes back on. That can cause more harm to our economy than what we're doing right now.
A massive information, but a stress on slow and steady wins the race.
Dr. Riggs and Lockard both stress this is not a light switch, but rather a dimmer. They say the importance of doing this methodically is important, and we cannot just do it all at once. The first day of COVID-19 drive-through testing came to a close at Pikeville Medical Center on Tuesday. The hospital, in partnership with the Pike County Health Department, is allowing free tests to the public. The tests are available in the parking area of the former Jerry's building. No registration is required. The site is open from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. or until the daily maximum of 70 tests is reached. That happened around 1:30 yesterday.
It has been a constant flow of cars all day. This morning when we opened up, there was about 14 cars in line, and we'll be open again tomorrow at 8 a.m.
The partnership plans to provide 250 tests to the area each week, which is more in 1 week than the hospital was previously able to provide in the months leading up to this partnership. Despite last night's higher numbers, a sign Kentucky may have avoided a surge in COVID-19 patients is that the Nutter Fieldhouse Hospital, is likely coming down soon. UK Healthcare says the makeshift hospital may no longer be needed. 400 beds were brought into the football practice facility to house the patients, but UK says they have a surge capacity of up to 1,300 beds to handle COVID-19 patients. It's not clear when the makeshift hospital could come down. But as places begin to reopen, healthcare experts say it's important to still take precautions in public to continue this progress. This as we are less than a week away from phase 1 of businesses reopening. That includes manufacturing, construction, horse racing with no fans, and dog grooming. Victor Puente explains some of the steps to take and looks at if Kentucky is moving too quickly to reopen.
As Kentucky prepares to enter phase 1 of reopening the state for business, some of the details are still being ironed out.
And so we still have about a week, and we are looking through the requirements that were released last night to see if any of them still need to have a couple tweaks.
The Kentucky Chamber of Commerce has worked with the governor's office on that reopening.
This has taken a huge hit on our economy, and the longer it goes on, the more likelihood that some businesses just will not be able to recover.
The number of COVID cases is expected to continue to rise during the summer. Health experts say it's important that the public does their part in preventing the spread of the virus.
I think we all agree that we need to start getting things back open, people back to work, but we have to do it safely because we understand that no matter what precautions we take with opening back businesses, whatnot, we're going to see increases in COVID cases.
Stanton says wearing a mask and washing your hands should be like putting on a seatbelt, a safety measure that can save lives. His concern is people who aren't taking the warnings seriously.
We have to maintain those freedoms, but at the same time, we have to be smart as well. Because the virus doesn't care what country you're from. It doesn't care who you are, your political party. It doesn't care about any of that stuff. All it cares about is its next host that it can get into and infect.
The governor's plan has businesses reopening in phases, but so far doesn't include daycares. Watts says that's been a big part of their discussions.
The governor has talked to us about having businesses maybe even provide childcare within their facility, which maybe some of them had not before because the numbers of who you would be in contact with would be limited.
All steps they hope will save lives while allowing people to earn a living. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WYMT Mountain News.
Barbers, cosmetologists, and other similar professions will soon be able to go back to work. The Kentucky Board of Cosmetology has drafted about 6 pages worth of recommendations before the May 25th opening. For one, the board is recommending that salons go by appointments only, scheduling clients either over the phone or online. If that's not possible, the board suggests having a check-in system. They also advise all capes and tools be either discarded or infected between each use. Grocery stores are limiting meat purchases out of concern for a shortage as more processing plants close due to outbreaks of COVID-19. That has left many shoppers looking for new ways to get their refrigerators stocked. Mike Stokely is the owner of Big Creek Land and Livestock in Bourbon County and says as many search for meats in big box stores, he is staying busy with many who are heading straight to the farm to find their meats. Stokely says he believes the issue isn't with supply, but with management on a national scale.
There's no meat shortage. Basically what it is, it's a supply chain management issue. And you've got 4 companies that control 80% of the protein, and basically they've just kind of bottlenecked right now with this going on. And it's created a need for people, and it's shortage on one end and an excess on the other end.
He also mentioned that some customers are even buying in bulk, and by bulk we're talking about purchasing meat by the cow. Good luck fitting that in your shopping cart.
.611 on this Wednesday morning, and satellite radar the last few hours. Well, we had a little bit of clearing over into parts of southeastern Kentucky, southwest Virginia, but some more rain on the way in there. Scattered showers will continue today as we head through this gloomy and for the most part cool I guess it's Thursday Eve. I'm trying to get ahead of myself there today. We're looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s this morning, 43 Moorhead to 50 in London. A lot of folks close to 50 today. So again, just a cooler day, and temperatures are not going to move a whole lot. Emoji cast for today, kind of a dreary, gloomy, overcast day. Scattered chances for rain linger, but skies will start to clear later tonight, which could bring some frost into play overnight. We'll have to keep an eye on that as well. And tomorrow, the sunshine returns briefly before another cold front comes through on Friday. Katie?
All right, thanks for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way next. Coming up, a shopping trip turned deadly in Michigan after police say a store security guard was murdered after asking a shopper to put on a mask.